Children sleeping on concrete floors. 8-year-olds forced to care for a 2-year-old they just met. Children who hadn't bathed since they crossed the border weeks earlier. No cameras were allowed inside, but those were conditions described by the children detained at this Border Patrol station in Clint, Texas. You were among the lawyers who interviewed some 60 or so children there. What did you see?
We could not believe just how dirty their clothes were, how stained, how some of them smelled. They were hungry, they were tired, they were emotional, they were crying.
Officials dispute some of the details. Close to 300 children at the troubled facility were initially transferred elsewhere, but today border officials say more than 100 have been sent back. Now, the acting chief of U.S. Customs and Border Protection is resigning from a job he's held for less than 2 months. There's also paralysis in Washington. Congress is divided over a bill that would send $4.5 billion in emergency humanitarian aid to the border. Some Democrats fear the extra money will be used to fund aggressive enforcement, including deportation raids promised by Donald Trump.
We do need to make sure it's not going to be used for ICE or internal enforcement or things like that.
Republicans, meanwhile, oppose provisions in the bill that would restrict border enforcement.
It's been Democrats who've been denying that there's a crisis at our border. It's been Democrats who've been denying us the resources and reforms to end that crisis.
Activists say the facility in Clint isn't the only one holding kids in deplorable conditions after they were separated from family members. The bottom line, says Binford,
everybody just needs to sit down at a table and say, yes, for the few days that children are in U.S. custody, they should be washed, they should be clothed, they should be fed, they should be able to sleep in a bed, and we should work diligently to get them to their parents so that the American taxpayers are no longer having to pay for their care.
Kim Brunhuber, CBC News, Los Angeles.